Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to this virtual meeting. I believe that we have quite a number of participants here, and it's all in a bid to help us get oriented for the Ghana Pharmacy Technician Qualifying Examination, which is due in November. We have quite a number of you who have registered to take part in the examination, and it's only right and important for us to give you this orientation to help you prepare very well for the exam. This exam, which is upcoming, will be the second of such examinations, and it's an examination that has come to stay for a long time, about over 10 years. We were grandparenting all graduates from the technical universities, and we were registering you as pharmacy technicians without the examination. But from last year, the Ghana Pharmacy Technician Certifying Examination has been introduced, and it has come to stay. The maiden examination was written in November last year, and we had just about 50% pass rate. It is based on this that Council and the Board of Examiners decided that we had to actually have this orientation to help prepare all of you for the examination. So for tonight's meeting, we have a number of seasoned facilitators who will take us through to orient us very well and to prepare us. And the first of such is Dr. Mrs. Martha Jansa Lutrot, who is the retired technical director of the Ministry of Health. You will get to know her. Auntie Martha, as most of us like to call her, is actually a mother, and so she has great concern for candidates who write examination. She's also an examiner. Again, we have Professor Osei Jabing from Kumasi Technical University, who was the dean of the faculty and as well as an examiner, and he is also a lecturer. So he understands students and understands them very well, and candidates, and he's here to help us do the orientation to make sure that all of us are well prepared. My name is Cynthia Yabua Mintai. I'm the head of Education, Training and Research Department of the Pharmacy Council of Ghana. In fact, it is our wish that we would be able to meet you in the final year before you leave campus, but unfortunately this time round we were unable to. I would want to draw our attention to the fact that Pharmacy Council has taken full charge of your experiential training, and we have liaised with the National Service Scheme to also consider your experiential training as the mandatory national service that every graduate in the country is supposed to undertake. And therefore, we do the posting and advise the scheme, that is the National Service Scheme, to effect the posting as well. So ladies and gentlemen, you are very, very welcome to this meeting. I'd like to share the vision of the Pharmacy Council with you. The vision is to guarantee the highest levels of pharmaceutical care in the country. And therefore, when you look at this vision, it means that for all the cadres of practitioners, when I talk about the cadres, I mean pharmacists being in the helm of affairs, pharmacy technicians as you are aspiring to become, medicine counter assistants, and even over-the-counter medicine sellers. At every level that they provide pharmaceutical care, we want top-of-the-range care given to our patients or our clients who are our primary focus. So once again, I would like to welcome you all to this meeting. Now, by way of running you through the program, as we have already sent to you, I believe that we cannot begin without having an opening prayer. So at this time, I just want you, wherever you are, whatever you believe in, just bow down your head. If you want to close your eye, you can feel free to do that as I share the opening prayer with you. Our Lord and our Master, we want to thank you so much for this opportunity. We know that you have created us and you have charted a course for us. You have a purpose for each and every one of us. So we pray that your presence will be with us in this orientation, especially for the candidates who have registered for the upcoming examinations, who are preparing. We pray that this orientation session will be of benefit to them. Above all, Lord, you who grant success to us, Father, please crown every effort with your success. And at the end of the day, Lord, let us be careful to give you praise and glory in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Now, I would want us to know that on this platform, and when I mention platform, I would like to thank Continuous Education Services so much for providing this platform, because our usual Zoom platform would give us a maximum limit of 100 participants. But on the CES platform, we have limitless number of participants who can actually join. So CES, we are very, very grateful to you, and we don't take this favor that you have done us for granted. In fact, they provide continuous professional development programs and platforms for providers to do continuous professional development for pharmacists and other cadres of practitioners. CES, we say we thank you so very much for this opportunity. We have dubbed this meeting Path to Success. Path to Success. So we have on our hearts the desire, or we desire that each and every one of you who participates in this examination, which is upcoming, will be successful. And in the end, you'll all be able to apply to register and become pharmacy technicians to practice in the country. Why, somebody might want to ask, why have we introduced this examination? Just as we all know, Pharmacy Council was established by a law of Parliament, and the law that governs the practice of pharmacy at all levels is the Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act 2013, Act 857. And when you look at the functions of the Pharmacy Council, when you look at subsection 80G, and I read, provide guidelines for the education, training, registration, licensing, and practice of all pharmaceutical support staff. So, as part of the mandate of the Pharmacy Council, we are expected to ensure that the education and training of all pharmacists and pharmaceutical support staff goes according to standards, and we have to ensure that. So we provide the guidelines. So for all of you who are candidates who have registered to write this exam, we want you to know that you attended schools that have been accredited by the Pharmacy Council. And since after your graduation, and if you are successful in the professional exam, you will be practicing at the various levels and providing pharmaceutical care to patients and clients. It's important that you are registered and you are licensed to practice by the Pharmacy Council. And that is why we are engaging you this afternoon. At the appropriate time, you will also hear from Dr. Mrs. Martha Jansa-Lutrot, and you will also hear from Professor Osei Jabin. So without wasting much time, after having introduced this, there is also a requirement by the Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act that all practitioners will have to be registered. And as part of the qualification for registration says that a person shall not be registered and practice as a pharmaceutical support staff unless that person fulfills the requirements determined by the board. And part of the requirements determined by the board is for you to sit the Ghana Pharmacy Technician Qualifying Examination and pass. And when you pass, you'll be able or eligible to register, and you'll be able to apply to Pharmacy Council to be registered and be given a personal identification number to practice as a pharmacy technician. So straight to the examination. We have all told you already that the name of the examination is Ghana Pharmacy Technician Qualifying Examination, GPTQE. And so, without wasting my time, I would want to invite Professor Osei Jabin to take us through the format of the examination and the likely things that we have to look out for, which I believe is of utmost importance to you now. And for some of you who are afraid and all of that, our dear mother, Dr. Mrs. Martha Jansa-Lutrot, will add her voice and help us to psych ourselves very well for the exam. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, I would want you to know that the platform does not allow you to unmute your microphone to speak. So if you have any questions, please make sure you use the chat box and you'll be able to ask your questions. During the Q&A session, questions and answer session, you'll be able to chat in and bring your questions for redress. So, well, help me to welcome our own dear Prof. Osei Jabin to take us through the examination and what to expect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam Cynthia. It's a pleasure to come your way this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a brief discussion on what you are likely to meet during the professional qualifying exams. And it is an exams that after going through, you'll be proud of yourself that you have sailed through your HND, the 3-year program successfully, and on top, you have passed your professional qualifying exam. It is our hope, as Madam Cynthia rightly said, that everybody, passes. We don't take delight in failures. That is why we've decided to come your way this evening with these discussions. It's a very simple exams. You're going to have objectives, 100 questions, and you have multiple choice options where you can pick. After going through, you have to read through the questions carefully and make your choice. This year, that is how it's going to be. Maybe subsequent years, they may be required to write down something. The options may not be given, but for now, you have the options. So without wasting much time, we're going to take you through the areas. I know as students, always you want what is coming, what is dropping. But we're not going to give you the questions. We're going to take you through the general areas that you are likely to meet questions. And maybe from time to time, we will look at some examples, some possible examples that you may expect. So if you are ready, we'll start straight away. Now, on your screen, you can see the major areas that you can consider for these professional qualifying exams. You have all been taken through the dispensing procedures at your various institutions. I've had the opportunity to look through almost all the curriculum for the various technical universities and other institutions providing higher national diploma in dispensing technology, and the concepts are basically the same. So it is expected that what we're going to go through, you have already been taught in schools. Wherever you schooled, you might have been taken through the various aspects. And more so, the program is sandwiched with practical sections. You go to hospitals, community pharmacies, and other places for hospital practice. You have also done your national service, which, thanks to Pharmacy Council, all of you were posted to health facilities that were of essence to your examination. So what we're going to do, I presume that all institutions covered, or you have all covered them, but we cannot set questions on every area. So we have decided to give you areas that we have projected. So you have the concept of dispensing and dispensing procedures. You would also look at pharmaceutical calculations. You look at dosage forms and routes of drug administration, then labels, storage conditions, prescriptions, in general community and hospital practice, then pharmacy ethics and laws. Then we touch briefly on communicable and non-communicable diseases and how they are managed. You would also have a look at good manufacturing practices, then basic pharmacology and therapeutics, and basic social pharmacy, then basic first aid, which, as I said, I presume all of you have had a chance to learn these. So we would look at them one after the other, but again, we are not going to go into details. It's not a typical lecture period where we will take you through. The presumption is that you have been taken through this already. So the first area of concept of dispensing and dispensing procedures, uh, more often in your first years, you are taken through what dispensing is, what is involved, then the appropriate manner in which medicines are to be dispensed. And in a dispensing could be in outpatients clinic, it could be how you dispense suspensions, how you dispense tablets, and other dosage forms. So under this, you could have something like the Latin abbreviation or the Latin word RX, which normally is written on prescriptions. What does it mean? This I presume everybody can do. These are the type of questions. So to allay your apprehension, to avoid fear, these are typical examples of questions that you may encounter. Now, again, if a person receives prescription, what should you check for? See, so if you are asked, or if in that area where upon reception of a, or if you receive a prescription from a patient, what do you check for before you dish out the medications? Pharmaceutical calculations, which again spans through several areas. Here, various calculations involved in dispensing and related areas of pharmacy are to be learned. You should familiarize yourself with conversion of units. I know it is a challenge for some of you. How do you convert milliliters to microliters? How do you convert milliliters to liters and others? Then milligrams to micrograms. They are very, very important because you may be given question in one unit and the answer may be expected in another unit. For example, I have put a question here. Fatih has a prescription for amoxicillin 500 milligram capsules with the following directions. Take 2 capsules TID until all is finished. If Fatih is supplied with 48 capsules, how long will the medication last? This is a typical example that involves basic and simple calculations. So here, he said the person is supposed to take 2 capsules TID till it's finished. So 2 times TID is 3 times, so you get 6. And if the person is supplied with 84, you divide the 84 by 6, and then you get 14 capsules. It's very simple. You could also be given a question like maybe for a stock of, you have to prepare and dispense 1.5 liters of 30% ethanol from a stock of 90% ethanol. This, again, is very simple, and I think everybody can easily do it. The next one is pharmaceutical dosage forms and general routes of drug administration. Again, in your theory, in your various institutions, you have done so much on that. You have the oral, the parenteral. The parenteral, you can consider the intramuscular, subcutaneous, intravenous, and other areas. Nasal, rectal, added. They are all various dosage forms. Sometimes you can classify it based on state. So again, you have solid, semi-solid, liquid, gases, and you can also classify the routes of administration. Uh, you'd have the oral. Sorry, that was what I meant earlier. The route of administration. You have the oral, the parenteral, the nasal, the rectal, and then the dosage forms where you can get it as solid, semi-solid, liquid, gas, etc. Mm. So again, typical example of a question: which route of drug administration is reserved for gases and volatile drugs? So if you have an inhalation, which route are you going to administer? You may be given options from which you have to pick one. You would also look at labels, storage conditions, and expiry dates. You are likely to get questions. Again, you have prepared various dosage forms in your institutions, which you are required to write and affix labels. There are different types of labels, cautionary labels, and others. Storage conditions, expiry dates, and others are to be provided. So all these areas are areas that you may have to learn if you really want to pass and pass very well. Again, typical example of a question, you give an example of a drug which would have a cautionary label such as avoid milk. Which which medication would you want to affix this cautionary label? Mhm. That one also is an example. Then prescriptions. You know what prescriptions are, and you know the requirements of a valid prescription. So you are likely to get questions on all areas of prescriptions. Assessment of prescription to see if it is valid, to see the dosage that you have to dispense. Prescription may be given to you, you read, and then you interpret. So you should know how that one is also done. In general activities or general hospital and community pharmacy practice, as I mentioned earlier, you have done your national service, you have done uh, hospital and community pharmacy attachments. So you have come across several drugs and several activities that go on there. So we would ask you questions on those areas, those settings. Uh, for example, if you are asked to give the generic name for, say, flagyl, Septrin, or Lipitor, what is the generic name for flagyl, for example? Because that one is a branded or a trade name. So, what is the generic name? Then, on pharmacy ethics and laws, I was happy Madam Cynthia wrote on. She mentioned to you some of the activities, the mission, vision, and others of Pharmacy Council. Yes, they are all found in the Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act. And I'm sure as part of your forensic or other courses, you were taking through this very act. Part 4 is devoted for or to the Pharmacy Council. So all activities, she mentioned the role of pharmacy technicians, pharmacy support staff, and others. They are all found in the Act 857. Mhm. So you revisit that part of your notes. If you don't have the Act, don't worry, it is freely available online. Part 4, the Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act 2013. It's freely available. So you can download and study the Pharmacy Council bit, or the portion devoted to Pharmacy Council. There are a lot of things that you may get from that aspect. Then on ethics, or ethical principles, there are basic things that, again, you should know and avoid. For example, it is not appropriate to dispense drugs under the influence of alcohol. Hmm. Abuse of drugs, immoral behavior, they are all ethical principles which you have been taught in school. So you are likely to get questions on these areas. So, for example, if you are asked, who is the pharmacy technician according to Act 857, what are you going to tell me? So, if you read, it is found in there who a pharmacy technician is, who a pharmacist is, who other categories of uh, the pharmacy fraternity, are. Then again, another area is the communicable and non-communicable diseases and how they are managed. For instance, communicable diseases, simply we are talking about infectious diseases such as HIV, Ebola, COVID-19, hepatitis, and others. Then with the non-communicable ones, uh, we normally look at the chronic diseases such as diabetes, cancers, cardiovascular diseases, and others. In your therapeutic and pharmacology class, you've been taking through all this. So you are, or you may be expected to know simple questions on that. For instance, how can the spread of pathogens be prevented? Mhm. Of course, for nothing at all, cast your mind back to the era of COVID, where regular hand washing was observed, use of sanitizers and others. Well, based on the options that will be given, you know what to choose. Again, excessive intake of alcohol can result in, you could get something like that. All this you have done in your various schools. And this is another subsection of it, basic pharmacology and therapeutics. So use of medications and then basic mechanisms of actions of medications. You may be given some true or false questions. So, for example, a dose of aspirin above 300 milligrams has antiplatelet activity. True or false? So it is up to you. But fortunately for you, for now, we have not started deducting. Those of you who have been watching the National Science and Maths quiz, you will sometimes realize that people get round 2 or round 3, they'll get higher marks. Then the following round, the score starts, reducing, because if you answer question wrong, marks are deducted. But for now, we are not doing that. So if you get your true or false questions, that doesn't mean you should do guesswork or you should decide to rely on guesswork. So then uh, yes, basic social pharmacy, which again you have done in school. You have been taking through the Ministry of Health. When you talk of Ministry of Health, what are we talking about? Ghana Health Services. You know their activities. It's very important because after the professional qualifying exams and when you get your PIN, most of you are going to end up in the Ministry of Health or Ghana Health Services. So you should know what they are, the differences between the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Services, and others. Then the levels of care various levels, which again you have been taught. Then sociology of diseases. Various people see diseases originating from various angles. Even those who are educated, still some people still believe that diseases are caused by evil spirits and others. So yes, in your basic social pharmacy, you are taken through some of these areas. So you should know there's basic sociology of diseases and related areas. Then first aid is part of your courses, and it is very, very important. Even in the homes, there are instances we encounter domestic accidents, and what first aid do you give? So you are likely to get questions on first aid, where, uh, for example, first aid for bleeding, for burns, for choking, and others, how to give CPR. You should know all these areas. So basically, these are the areas that you are likely to get questions from. And then the final one is good manufacturing practices, your quality control, the various methods you use to ensure that pharmaceutical products and medicines are of the required standard. Then the basic good manufacturing practices or current good manufacturing practices, CGMP. You have taken through them. Under what circumstances, under what situations are certain medications recalled? Under what circumstances are medications quarantined, etc. So you should have basic knowledge in these areas, the good manufacturing practices, and how you'd be able to analyze basic drugs. Mind you, not all of you are going to be in the hospital. Some of you are going to be in the manufacturing sector. Some of you are going to work in the industries. What tests are you going to carry out on your manufactured tablets, say paracetamol tablets, after the tablets have been produced? What basic quality control tests are you going to carry out to ensure that the products are of the required standards? So these are the major areas that you are likely to get questions from. So on that note, I think we'll I'll end it here. I wish you the best. I expect that everybody gets more than the minimum pass mark of 60%. The one who would not do well at all should get at least 75. That is our expectation. So we wish you well. If you have any questions, as Madam Cynthia said, you can put it on the chat uh, column at appropriate time. Your questions, responses will be given. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, Madam Cynthia. Over to you.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Prof, thank you so much for taking us through the areas that we are expected to, or we are likely to have questions. And I believe that this will be very helpful to put their learning and their preparation into perspective. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we have already said, please just put your questions together in the chat section and we'll be very, very happy to answer the questions. Don't ask us to give you specific questions because that will not happen. So the areas, have been spelled out by Prof for us. I believe that now you can bring into perspective, how to. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for the questions to start flowing, we would want to invite our own dear mother, Dr. Mrs. Martha Jansalutrot, to also share a few thoughts with us as candidates who are preparing to write our examination. So Auntie Martha, please, if you are here, you have the floor now. Please, your children are there out there. They want to hear something from you. Thank you.
Patience. You can hear me. You can hear me now.
Yes, Auntie Martha, I think we can hear you. Yes, please. You are loud and clear. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to congratulate my dear students for coming this far. One profession you'll be proud of is this one that you have chosen. And every good thing will come. You have to, like gold, you have to go through fire to be able to come out like the gold that we know. Consider this as coming out through the fire, but the fire will not burn you. I'm sure Prof has shared with us the areas that you should pay attention to. I'm sure there are things you already know and you already are familiar with. I just want to urge you to do the needful. Study in groups, and don't ever think that there will be a leakage and therefore you'll be banking your hopes on that. Just study and leave the rest to God. The good book says that a horse is prepared for battle, but victory belongs to God. I believe that for those of you, whatever you believe in, put in your maximum best. And sometimes the questions could be tricky. Please read over the questions very well before you start answering, because sometimes they will tell you like, oh, everything else is like this except. The except is where you have to look for the opposite and not what you know. So I want to urge you to read your questions very well. The council is there to support you, but they are like policemen, but not like the Ghana policemen. They have to apply the whips and making sure that to get that magic number, you do the needful according to the law. I understand you are the second batch coming into to do this. Please make sure you exceed your own expectation. Work hard at it, and victory at the end will be yours and mine, because I feel proud that our colleagues, especially the dispensing technicians, have gone through, and we have as many as possible. And I'm very happy that you come out as a dispensing technician after getting that number. You already have a bargaining certificate with gospel. For me, that is the best way we can go. One profession, one father, one mother, we only work together and move in a group. Thank you for allowing me into the space this afternoon. Thank you, Prof, for we never had such opportunities. You know what I mean? Where they tell you where the issues are coming from. But I think that this is good. Pharmacy Council, congratulations for doing this. Just relax about it. It's just one examination. I understand there will be an oral as well, is it? Dr. Cynthia?
No, ma'am. No, there will be no oral.
Okay. Oh, but so, I'm sure with time there will be an oral, but you are escaping this one. You are a group that is escaping these orals, but I believe that those after you, whether we like it or not, is part of the proceedings. It's a professional course, and therefore let's do the needful. Congratulations to all of you. Please, the exams is you are not on trial. Make sure you just go and write and leave the rest to God. Thank you for allowing me in this space. Bye-bye and over.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Auntie Martha. We are so grateful. We feel very, very encouraged. In fact, putting myself in the shoes of the candidate, I believe that, with all of this encouragement, we are so poised, and with good enough preparation, we should be able to write this exam and then excel in the exam. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now expecting that we would have a few questions from you now that all the fears have been allayed and we know the areas to expect questions from. I believe now we would be able to study and study on point and get ready for the examination. Unfortunately, or fortunately, this exam is centralized. So the exam center is going to be Zenith College in Accra. That is where everybody is coming to write the exam, just like what happened last year with the first batch. Okay, so yes, now I see Idrisu Abdul Latif is asking, when will we be expecting the pin to be released to us after the examination? That's a very good question, Idrisu. Thank you for your question. After the examination, you are expected to pass, and when the results are released, you will have to apply to the Pharmacy Council for the registration. And after that is done and we have received your registration document, we'll review it, and that is when your PIN will be issued to you. So, well, yes, as a backup to this question, I think that I would want to take us quickly through the requirements for the application to register as a pharmacy technician after you've gone through the exam successfully. So what you would require would be your certificate, because after you pass, a certificate will be issued. So it will be one, your application form, the required fees, and then you should show evidence of belonging to the professional body. And in this case, it is the Pharmacy Technicians Association of Ghana. That is the professional body that Pharmacy Council recognizes. So please do not be deceived to go and join any other association. It's the Pharmacy Technicians Association of Ghana, PTAG. So please, you can do further inquiries and know the professional body to join so that your application is not refused by the council. So that is the requirements for registration. Another question that popped up is, please, what is the pass mark? Prof already told us that the pass mark is 60%. So you are going to have 100 multiple choice questions and the pass mark is 60%. So this means you must get 60 out of the 100 correct to be able to pass. So 60 and more would put you in the pass range. Anything less than 60 takes you to fail, which we don't expect any of you to do. So please, the pass mark is 60%. Yes. So we are still taking a few more questions, and I believe that, yes. Okay, so I'm reading the next one from Nana Kwame. Thanks, ma'am. I would like to ask when we are going to be notified of the index numbers and what we are to do next. Now, if you successfully registered, the index number would be issued to you to your inbox. A lot of you do not check your emails, but don't worry about that. On the morning of the exam, we'll also paste all your names and index numbers at the venue, which is Zenith College behind the Trade Fair Center in La. That is where the examination center would be. I would want to entreat all of you who are coming from the other regions to arrive at least a day before the exam. So please make sure you are in Accra a day before the exam and arrive on the premises very, very early because of the traffic situation in Accra. Planning Andrews is asking, please, shall we be provided calculation sheet in case of calculations? Now you will have your examination papers, and there are spaces on the left and to the right of the examination paper or the question papers. You can use that as a rough sheet and you can do your calculations in there. Now it's MCQs, multiple choice questions. So you'll be required to bring your HB pencils. So we are expecting that you will bring either 2 HB, 4 HB, 6 HB pencils so that you'll be able to shade appropriately. Please make sure you shade appropriately. And you've been shading all your life from BEC to WASI, and even in the university. So this is no different thing. You will just come and shade. Make sure you are shading the bubble completely as you'll be directed on the Scantron sheet. And also, I would want you to know that you have to bring your IDs. Bring your IDs for inspection. Now, very valuable items should not be brought to the examination center because we cannot guarantee the security of those items. And your bags, your phones, your tablets, your laptops will not be allowed into the examination hall. These are all examination rules you know already. So please note that you don't have to bring all these valuables to the examination center. Make sure you don't bring them, because from past years, some people lost their phones and other things. So please don't bring them. Now somebody is asking, Dodu Emmanuel is saying, thanks, ma'am. Please, how many hours are we going to use for the exam? Oh, that's just 100 MCQs. So it is 1 hour. It is a 1 hour paper. A 1 hour paper. And I would also want you to set your hearts at rest. Your papers are going to be marked by a machine, not human beings. So we'll have the scanner marking your papers, and that is why it is very important to handle the Scantron sheets which will be provided in the examination hall with care. You handle them with care so that you don't crumble the paper for the machine not to be able to mark. And when you enter the examination hall, please note that you are in an examination hall. No talking, no communication amongst yourselves. These are the normal examination rules. So don't let it look like you are going to do something different from what you already know. Abdullah Mohammed is asking, please, you have not approved some of our applications. If you have any such problems, please either you contact your class rep or we all have Karim's number. Ask your friends. Karim will help you to resolve those problems. I'm sure there are only isolated cases, those whose applications have not been approved on our center. It is either you uploaded the wrong passport size photograph or there is something wrong with your application. So make sure you get in touch for that to be resolved. So, and we finally have extended the deadline for all applications to tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. So tomorrow is the deadline. Once you are not registered by close of day tomorrow, you cannot be part of the examination. So if you're having any challenge, please make sure call Karim. He will help you to solve the problem. He has helped a number of you to solve the problems already. Yes. I believe we've exhausted the questions so far, and candidates are very ready. Auntie Martha has really geared us up for the exam, and Prof has even made life easier for us. It does not mean that all the questions are only going to be limited to these areas. Please make sure you are reading a little outside, because there are a lot of other public health concerns which might even come up. So anything which is of public health concern, make sure you update your knowledge a little bit about that as well. Yes, so looks like I have no further questions coming in the chat. So we'll give ourselves a maximum of about, we plan to close this meeting at around 5 p.m. Okay, so I have Evelyn asking, please, where is the venue of the exam? And is there going to be accommodation for students from afar? Evelyn, as for the venue of the exam, I have said it and I'll repeat. It is Zenith College, and that is behind the Trade Fair Center, La, in Accra. Zenith College. Pharmacy Council is not going to provide accommodation, please. So we have a notice here All those who missed any information can come here to watch the video again. Thank you once again, CES, for providing this platform for us. They have also recorded all the session, so you can come back to the CES platform to watch the video in case you missed any information on the show. So I want to say that this is a live show, which we have enjoyed. Thanks to CES once again. Candidates, I'm sure, have enjoyed being on the show as well. Now, Deborah is asking, please, what if payment has not been done but has registered? Will you be packed and you pay later than the expected date of registration? Oh, I am so sorry, Deborah. If payments have not been done, you have not registered. You cannot register for an examination without the payment. So if your payment has not been done and your documents have not been submitted to any pharmacy council office, you are not registered for the exam. So the registration process is one, you do the online registration. We have said print your form, which you have completed, and then you attach your documents. The documents that you need to attach will be one, your school certificate, two, your national service certificate, and then your receipt of payment, then your report from your experiential training site, which has been countersigned by your preceptor. You submit all of these things to the pharmacy council office, any pharmacy council office in your region, and it will be forwarded to me here in Accra. So if you have not done that yet, you have not registered. I hope I am clear. Your registration is not complete until you have submitted all that I have already mentioned to any pharmacy council office in the region where you are. And when you submit, make sure you take an official receipt from the pharmacy council and bring the receipt with you to the examination hall. Okay, somebody is asking, Madam, please, what is the time for the exam? The time is 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. on the 15th of November. I'm sure by now you all know that the exam is 15th November. We have circulated the advert already, and your class reps have put it on your class pages. So those of us who don't go to the class page, it's time now to do that. Some people do not check their emails. Please do that as well. Esther is asking, please, will there be an interview after the exam? We said for this particular exam, there will be no interview. It is just the theory paper, finished. No interview. But as Auntie Martha said, as time goes on and in future, it is likely that after the written paper, there will be the oral interview. But for this particular November exam, there will be no interview after the theory paper. So please take note. Please take note. Yes. So we have about 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, please, if you want to seek clarification in any way, please go ahead and put it in the chat section. Thank you. Yes, Deborah is asking again, please, you people should stop using this. If you sat for last year, will you submit the said above documents to Pharmacy Council? Yes, please. If last year you did not submit those things, then you will have to submit, because this is a new examination you are registering for. So please, if you did not submit last year, you will submit those documents with this year's application. Thank you. The payment for last year cannot be rolled over to this year. Please take note. The payment for last year's examination cannot be rolled over. So don't say last year I sat and I was unsuccessful, so I'm rolling over my payment. Your money is gone with the last year's exam. So please, this year, you have to register and make new payments for those of us who are resitting. Yes, so who is this? Baba says that I have registered with all the requirements, but I have not been approved. So as we speak, right after this meeting, we are going to make sure that every pending application will be approved. In fact, it means that you just submitted your application today, because as of last night or yesterday, all the applications had been approved. And we have well over 555 applications, all approved. So it means that those of you who maybe have submitted today are the ones which are pending, which will all be approved if everything is right by the close of day today. So Baba, that is it. If your application is still pending, it will be approved before end of day. Caleb says, thank you, Mommy. Please, is there a way we can approve payments since the Pharmacy Council couldn't produce a receipt for some of us? Every Pharmacy Council office is supposed to issue you with a receipt. So please, backstage, let me know which region you submitted your document and the payment, and Pharmacy Council did not give you a receipt. We will follow it up for you. All of you should be issued with an original receipt, which you should bring along to the examination center. Sewa says, hello, ma'am. Please, is there any dress code for us? No, you just have to come in a decent dress. There is no dress code for you. There will be no oral interview. So please come in very decent clothing. Decent clothing. Don't come in chalewote. Don't come in shorts. Please dress. I know that in the various technical universities, the DT department is one department that insists on professional dressing. So please come well dressed, professionally, please. No chalewote, no shorts, no tattered clothing. For the ladies, don't bring green hair, red hair. No, please come decently dressed like people who are aspiring to enter a profession. Yes. Who is this? Survivors. I'm not sure that is your real name. Somebody is asking, how long after the exam will the results be published? Well, let me not preempt, but make sure you want to spend Christmas. So the results will come before Christmas, so that those of us who pass can really spend the Christmas and spend it very well, which we are expecting all of you to do. So hopefully your results will be published before Christmas. Elizabeth, you did not hear about the receipt. When you present your documents and the bank pay-in slip to any Pharmacy Council office, the accountant will take the bank pay-in slip and issue you with a receipt. That is a receipt I'm talking about. Elizabeth, I hope you've got that. Yes. Alaska. What of those who have problems with their certificates and the school has given them a letter attesting Okay, letters of attestation, you can submit them, but your schools will actually have to submit a list of all the graduating students so that we are sure that indeed you went through the school, you have graduated, and you don't owe the school some school fees. So those of you, I don't know why 1 year after you have graduated, you don't have your school certificate. Follow it up with the various universities. They will issue you with your certificates. Yeah. Because you graduated and you've done your experiential training for 1 year before coming to write the exam. By now, you should all have your certificates. So follow it up with your school and make sure they issue you with your certificates. So ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing to round up with a meeting. And once again, we want to say a very big thank you to CES for providing us with this platform. CES, Continuous Education Services, we are so grateful to you. And we know that you all, you always come to our aid and you support us in this manner. Now, all those who missed any information can always come back to this platform to watch the video again. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to Professor Samuel Osei Jabing of KSTU, Kumasi Technical University, and for that exposition and the good orientation. We also want to thank Dr. Mrs. Martha Jansa Lutrot, who also came in to add her motherly voice and to encourage us, because in times past, even the first batch did not have such an orientation. So count yourself blessed. And for those of you who are reciting, you will attest to the fact that you never had any such orientation. And this is going to be very helpful and very useful to you. Once again, my name is Cynthia Yeboah-Minta. I am the head of Education, Training, and Research Department of the Pharmacy Council. Once again, I want to also encourage you all, make sure you are registering when you are successful with the Pharmacy Technicians Association of Ghana. Please, that is the body, professional body that Pharmacy Council knows and recognizes, so that when you are applying, you can apply with their letter of attestation as well as the law demands. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. We started with a prayer, and I believe that we have to end with a prayer. And especially as we prepare for this exam, I would want to wish you all the best, and you will always be in my prayers, so that at the end of it all, we can together rejoice and thank the Lord for having successfully seen us through the examination. Thank you, and thank you all for participating in this meeting. Remember, you can always come back to the CES platform to watch the video again if you missed any part of the presentation. Thank you very much. Shall we please bow for a word of prayer? Our Lord, we started with you. You are the beginning and the end. We want to end this meeting with you, but we haven't stopped coming into your presence. Especially, I lift up all candidates who are preparing for the November exam into your hands. We pray, oh God, that you will lead them and guide them in their studies, the very things that are relevant or that will be relevant in answering the questions, lead them to it. Above all, you who crown every effort with success, pray that you will make them successful. We thank you and we bless you. And when they are successful and have registered to become pharmacy technicians, they will serve the patients whose interest is paramount in our practice. We thank you for Pharmacy Council. We thank you for the opportunity to interact with all candidates as well. Thank you in the precious name of Jesus. So we'll come your way again some other time. Ladies and gentlemen, all the best. All the best.